And at the time, everybody said to her, friends, family, her own brothers, probably my uncles, get married again. This is mid to late 80s. You've got no business as a single woman with 3 children trying to do this on your own. My mom, Zainab Khan, said, nah. I had a husband. I experienced that. I don't want another man coming into my house and putting his rules on my daughters in particular and this 3-year-old child. So I think from day one, I was able to see what resilience and bucking a trend and not listening to community and not listening to people, what it was in real time. My single mother, if she ever hears, she can say I'm bare corny, but my single mother was able to pay off her own mortgage on her property, on her own. I'm talking like early 90s, she probably did that. She hustled, 3-4 jobs. She was then able to help my sisters eventually when they got houses, do the same thing. So she's doing it, a single mom, with no external support from like her brothers, and I have mamus and stuff like that, with no external support from my brothers, was able to do all these things herself. She then ended up discovering her deen, her faith, in the guise that she follows it now, quite a bit later on. Maybe I was like 45, maybe 45 years of age. And so for her, then that was a different way to look at life. But for me, I ain't never really been in a guy. So a big thing that people say to me is, bro, like for a guy raised by 3 women, because my sisters, they completely raised me as well. So it's these 3 women, my mom, Shady Mills, yeah? You're a bit like a lad, right? You're a man.
You've seen men grow up around women sometimes, like in, obviously, and it's like the opposite sometimes as well.
Right? Yeah. So people can go and find out whatever terms they want, right? But they're like, they ain't really grow up like you. The only thing that I would say that I have is that I have a personality trait, which is where I am much more likely to listen to a female voice than a male voice, which again is a bit weird for our community, isn't it? Oh, your dad's coming, your uncle's coming, Mulli Saab's coming, your mom's coming. To me, this stuff didn't matter. So a lot of the men, when I was growing up in our community, even many in my family were like, he's loose. He don't care. He don't respect. Give me a chitta, give me a chipper, whatever it is. I would like, I would take it. If a female in my family came to me and says, don't do this, look at things this way, I would do it. So for me, I think that set me up in like this completely opposite way to most of the family setups around me, right? That led to a couple of things, though. That led to this like innate hunger and drive to make sure that I had to make it financially, so my mom never has to look at 3-4 jobs again, or the hard times that she went through with my sisters in particular. I saw a lot of good times. They sacrificed a lot for me, that they would never have to do that again. It was always in my head that I have to forget comedy and hoo, none of this stuff. Yeah, I have to make something of myself financially to make sure they never have to go through this stuff again. And I think that's still exactly the same way it is now. That then extrapolates out to my sister's kids, my nieces and nephews, who have grown up with me almost every day of their lives. There's a 12 to 15 year gap between me and my nieces and nephews, so in a way I'm not an uncle, I'm a big brother, because my sisters are much older than me, 10 and 11 years older. And so I think just that thing there meant that I ended up falling into things early on in my life that was all about, I need to chase this paper. Even though I knew intrinsically it was wrong, even though I knew intrinsically it was haram, that feeling of wanting to like amass something solid as much as I could to suffice the family, in my head anyway, is what I was running after.
I think also it's like in the fitra of a man to want to provide as well, maybe. Like maybe like innate, like I want to. You're saying I don't want to see them in that position again. You almost want to, not necessarily provide, protect. I think
that's a better term. I think protect, because like looking at how tough my mom's life must have been. Listening to some of the stories early on, when she lost the council houses that they were in when my sisters were little, and they got moved to these flats in Coventry on Yardley Street. And these were notorious flats. These are flats that people looked at. If you went to the flats, you were either a substance abuse victim, you were a sex worker, they were looked at, they were shunned that badly in Coventry. This ain't London, bro. The West Midlands, if you're thinking about, early 80s, mid 80s when my sisters were young, it was like incomparable to London. It was so much more behind. It was so much poorer. There was so much less social input from local governments and stuff like that. So she'd been through a lot, and I always wanted that to not be the case. What ended up happening is my mom heard of this person, that person, this, would find money, would find whatever it is, and she would say, because she, as a person, discovered her faith a little bit later on, I don't want this person in my house. I don't want this person in my life.
Okay.
So she knew this stuff. She knew, not all, but she knew a lot of the haram that I was up to, just because you'd be stashing papers here, there, everywhere. Your mother, somebody who intrinsically knows who you are, is going to find out. So that was a very turbulent phase in my life where I want to say I lost my faith. I always believed in God, but like in terms of like the fundamentals of what it is to be a Muslim, they were gone. I was clapped. Like there was no calling towards for me like Salah. I became at max like a Juma uncle, you know. Oh, it's Friday, it's going on. That's only because my mates were going, right? Who'd be like, you got to come and do this. Then there was a big change. I never told anybody this before. Everything was going okay in that life.
As in financially, you were
Yeah. Everything was, for 18, 19-year-old, I don't know, what do you, just give me a figure that you define at 18, 19, if you had that much money, would have been a lot of money. What do you think?
Anything in the thousands would have been like, wow.
Singles or like...
Singles would have been wow, yeah.
A lot of money, right?
Yeah, I was in A-levels at that time.
Yeah, a lot of money. So I remember being... Who can help me out with this? I remember being 21, 22. When was I? How old were you? You were 20, I was 21.
That was like no comment. My parents are listening to this.
You were 19, so I would have been 20, right? What started happening is, Faisal, for the first time in my life, I couldn't sleep. First and only time. I've been a sick sleeper before that. No matter what the drama, what the stress, what's going on with him, her, I had lost my ability to sleep. And I remember being so stressed and vexed about it because it was affecting how smooth I was with conversation. It was affecting how people perceived me. Like I was always trusted by the elders. Anybody I've ever hung around in my life was always usually quite a bit older. When I was little, it's like, he's funny. Come here, hang around with us, mate. That could be white, black, Asian. People older than me always loved to have me around. I'd be busting jokes and impersonating him. For them, it was fun, right? So I got to this age, and I had a specific financial number that I had stacked away. But I couldn't sleep. I'm stressed about this, I'm stressed about that. I'm saying, oh my God, that's been taken from there, and this is it. Without self-incriminating everyone, you shouldn't glorify the things that you used to do, but you know, haram is haram. I'm not going to go into that too much, but I will say, I had the most money at that age I've ever had. I had the least sukoon. I had the least amount of peace. And I remember being so stressed one day that I said to some guy randomly, because my mum was on my case, like, you don't go Jummah, you don't read Salah, there's this girl here or this girl knocking up at the house for you. What are you doing with your life? And I remember saying to one guy, where's the prayer room? I was at uni at the time.
Which uni were you at?
Cov Uni. You don't, when things are going well, you don't leave home. You got to stay at home.
Yeah.
And I went to uni because of mom. My sisters went to uni and she's like, don't be an idiot.
I got into Cov Uni.
Did you get into Cov Uni?
Yeah, but I rejected it.
Thank you. Thank you for rejecting Cov Uni.
Because they were my, what was it called? Like insurance, yeah, they were insurance.
Yeah, thanks for keeping us as a backup. Yeah, no.
But anyway, carry on.
Coventry love you, mate.
I ended up in Cardiff.
People in Cov love you. So I remember I couldn't sleep and I went to prayer room.
Okay.
And I'd forgotten how to make like wudu properly.
Wow,
steps.
okay, fine.
It's gone like that.
Yeah.
Knew some, but when you don't do it, it's another mad thing. When you don't do it, you start forgetting up the nose first, hands first, feet first. Yeah. So I'm messing up my wudu. Somali brother there, it's called Abdullah, yeah? So they named him twice. And he was the head of the Islamic Society at the time. There's another Somali brother there who's like giving me like them funny looks, like he's throwing water all over the place. I don't know what he's doing, right? And he said to him, brother, he had a weird hybrid accent because he was born in Saudi and like they go to American schools. Like, okay. do I do my hands first or my feet? And I was like, I knew already he's doing it for me because I knew this guy.
That's nice. That's nice. That's right? Endearing. Yeah.
So anyway, listen, go and praise He's like, brother, would you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Smiley Somali acts, yeah. Brother, would you like to pray salah with us, bro? And I was like, okay, bro. So I did my namaz. I did my namaz, and then smiley. The thing is, he was just bare smiley, yeah, which is jarring for me at the time. We live in a certain life, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, so what's your name? I was like, this is my name. He's like, cool, okay, inshallah, see you here tomorrow, right? And I was like, see you here tomorrow. So weird, because I felt a pull from that day that his energy was so opposite, because he was just nice.
Do you know what? Can I pause the story there for a second? It's so interesting because I had a completely opposite experience.
What?
So I also found Islam essentially at university, and I felt I'm probably like all the guys in ISOC, I'm sure, like the loveliest guys, and if they listen to this now, like I have nothing bad about like to say about them. But at the time I felt very targeted by them. I was like, because I had a friend who had just become Muslim, and he was like more practicing than me because he just like he's a reaver and stuff, and so the ISOC started taking, and they was like advising him like, don't hang around Faisal, he's gonna send you like the wrong part. So I had this thing against like, wow, like you lot are mad judgmental and stuff like that. So I can imagine actually, as cheesy as this guy sounds, it must have been really endearing actually to be like, this guy is so nice, because I was like, I'm willing to hear you guys out if you're willing to pretend like I'm a good guy at least, right?
Of course, and you've got to remember, bro, Lembo's probably the most, obviously my best mate, but he's obviously probably from his core like the nicest guy in my entire life, like very smiley. His energy at the time was weird because no one be smiling at people like,
oh really, is it?
Like, it's weird. It's weird to experience.
Okay, so you're feeling a bit, you pray at this time.
Yeah, so I had this feeling to go, and then I had this feeling to be like, oh, this smiley guy was weird, cuz let me just go and see him again. So I just thought again, it happened to be, and I'd go back, and bro, just every day he'd be like, so what do you do? And I was on my uni, and he's like, right, excellent, it's really good. And I was like, obviously really nice. But one day he never ever, like on campus there was like, this is like this or that, or like this good, or like he's into this. No, he never asked me about this stuff.
He probably got whispers about it as well.
Of course, because like you said, just to go back to what you're saying, I think when people are young and they're first discovering their faith, no matter what faith that is, people get a little bit like, what's a term that I can use?
Excited?
No, not even excited. It's beyond judgmental.
Yeah.
They get a little bit aggy with it.
Yeah, like
right?
arrogant.
With it. They get a little bit arrogant, right? So people are like, this guy's this, and all his mates.
I went through that phase as well, but it very quickly, and I'm really grateful to my mum for this, and actually both my parents. My parents, like, they shut it down quite early. My mum has never said these words to me ever before, and she said to me, if you carry on acting like this, I'm kicking you out of my house. Because she goes, you're just like, I would like, bro, like, my brother would be wearing shorts in the yard. Like, I was like, it's a very short period of my life, but like
early doors though.
And I remember like one time my dad called me, bro. My mum and dad also, my mum and dad divorced. So I went to my dad. He called me over. He called my brother over. And he's like, oh, I heard that you're like going at your brother and stuff. Me and brother are like this, bro. Like, we're so tight. Like, alhamdulillah, we have the best bond even now. So that was like a bit of a weird period. I was like, nah, like how can you, do you want the hellfire? So
because it shows.
Yeah. And then my, because and I was like, dad, and my dad, I was all right, let's go to dad. I'm going to come to my dad with logic. I was like, dad, I'm in the toilet and I can hear someone's playing, like I could hear like someone was like the Quran was like playing, which actually was a great thing. But how could I hear it in the toilet? How can you have it on while I come into it? And my dad, bro, I had no knowledge, bro. My dad was like, alright, so when you're in the mosque and you go to the toilet, but they're reading Quran, they're praying, what? You can't hear it. I was like, oh, that's true. And it's like,
yo, dad just talk you down, yeah.
So my parents quickly were like, that's not happening. Like the way you're being, it's not happening.
Good.
And bro, I'm so grateful for it.
But some people don't.
But they don't. Yeah.
Some people don't step in.
Yeah.
Some people don't care if their son's bringing home drug money. Some people don't care if their son is veering off so far to the right that he's watching jihadi videos on the deep dark web. This is another thing, slightly separate conversation, but this is a fundamental of parenting, which is the middle road. Is you've got to be able to pull your kids back.
Yes.
So I'm grateful that your parents did it. I'm grateful that my mum was. She gave the reminder. She wasn't successful
it seemed like she was a constant in your life like that, which is very good.
She was a constant. So anyway, it's gone months now, and I just like hanging around with this guy, which is a weird thing to say. Maybe I said it Maybe Lumber got jealous. I was like,
We'll clip just that bit on the
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, clip that, put it out there. I just like hanging out with this guy, right? He's a new energy. No drama, no charme. Be good, do this. Man. Anyway, I get to the point where I'm able to open up to him about, I got a lot of stress in my life. I can't sleep. He said, do you think that's because of what you do? And I was like, what do you mean what I do? He said, I mean, I don't know, but I've heard it's not good. It's haram. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, maybe. He goes, then he starts getting into this thing. He goes, if you feed your family with haram, which is what my mom would always be saying, I want haram place in the house, it's going to have a physical effect on your body and your spirituality, right? And I was like, okay. He said, if you're thinking about haram before you go to bed, how are you ever going to sleep? Brother, how are you going to sleep? How are you going to sleep, brother? I like you, but you got to stop this, okay? And I was like, so what are you saying? He goes, I promise you, stop doing the haram, give away all of this money, and inshallah, you're going to be granted with your sleep. He said, and you say you're sukoon, right? And I said, yeah, my sukoon. He went, you'll get it. So, I ain't slept in a couple of 3-4 months properly, and I really love sleep, wallahi. Yeah? It's one of the most important things to me on planet Earth. Because I love sleep. I can't function without it. One night, Umbro bag, I dashed all the best in. I called him. I said, Abdullah, where are you? He said, I'm just with my kids. Again, it's a really weird concept because he was quite a young guy. He was married, he had kids.
Wow.
Okay? He would have been like, we were 20, he can't have been older than 24, 25, right? Max. But he got 2-3 kids, got a wife, he's the most sensible young guy I've ever in my life. I said, Abdullah, where are you, man? He goes, I'm here. So I took this peso to him and I gave him the peso. I said, I don't want this peso.
What did he do with it?
Good question. Never asked him. Never asked him. I gave him the peso. I've gone home. Well, this is true. I've gone home. I lay in my bed like that. There's a lot of money face. You told me what you thought it was. We can maybe X30 that, right? More. Lying in my bed. I'm like, That Somali has done me. Hey, brother Javed, just give your money away and you'll feel great. I was like, oh, Nani, that Somali done me badly, cuz. I swear to you, I was pondering that, thinking about that. Next thing I remember, I woke up in the morning. Wallahi, it was that night that I got my sleep back.
Wow.
And from that day on, something that I never left was my 5 times a day salah.
Wow.
I never left it from that day. And I was still an idiot and I was still making loads of mistakes, but I stopped really quite quickly. The stuff I was involved in, I stopped like boo, 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 boo. And you can't just stop. No one was gonna bag me up for it or whatever, but you've got responsibilities to be like, yo, this. Stop doing that. Stop doing those things. And said, thank you, Allah, and thank you, tiny Somali Abdullah. Okay, X2. Thank you for the sleep. I ain't never gonna abandon my 5 times salah again. And alhamdulillah, from that day, it's never gone.
Bro, that story is incredible. And you've never told that story before, have you?
I don't think so. And you know the mad thing is, bro, I wish I could say it was the next day or the end of the week. It was that night when I was saying, Allah ni qasam the Somalis done me.
Bro, you know what? Yeah, there's so many important parts of that story. I think a lot of people resonate with it, and you'll be surprised by how many people might even just change their life by listening to the story. So I commend you on being so open and vulnerable with that story as well. I think one of the most important parts is what you said at the end about, still making mistakes and stuff. Because, bro, what people often forget is that it's a journey, and actually the journey never ends. Until you die. But the point is that it's a journey, and it's the sunnah of Allah. Like, even when you see kind of how people like our pious predecessors came to Islam, like there's always like steps in the process, always journey, and we as humans are so quick to be like, oh no, we just want to see like A to B, black and white. But it's incredible hearing that. And then Akhi Allah Barak, like the other thing that's incredible about that story actually is something that I've never heard or thought about before, which is often when somebody says to you, bro, leave this, and inshallah you'll like whatever comes after it. What you often hear someone say, leave this, and whatever you leave, Allah will replace it with even better. And then that is a motivating factor because like, oh, I'll get more. Like if I just believe, I'll get more. I will because like the promise of Allah is that He'll place me. But for you, you wasn't even motivated by getting more, bro. You just wanted to sleep.
I didn't want to say, bro. I just wanted to sleep.
Oh, you value sleep a lot.
But bro, it's really, when you think about it, that's scary, ain't it?
Of course.
Material stuff, you can somehow figure out a way to get more of that.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Sleep, something that your brain or your spirit or your soul is struggling to control, was the scariest thing that I've ever experienced. And I suppose the big thing that I'll never forget, like, there's still loads that he will want to tell me off about. There's still loads that he will, but for me, from that day, like, he was we believe spiritually, theologically, that certain people will come into your life and they will be there to propagate good, positive change.
Yeah.
Abdullah, that Somali superstar, at that point changed my life.
Do you still know him?
Yeah, of course. Like,
oh, really?
He's. I think he's not too happy with what I do, because it is what it is. His frame of reference is like, maybe he worries that, oh, if it's this and then this goes too far, you're gonna go all the way, mess up something, and become the same guy that I help. Because people should be given respect when they do something. He really facilitated a massive change in my life, bro. Right? He did that. So if he's sitting at home, I've got no problem with him thinking, Guz was my little project. And alhamdulillah, in that last year, what an incredible story. Like something else he did, he left the ice up to us. Oi. He left the ice up to us, yeah? And all the brothers in the project, all like above their ankles, they're like, you leave it, ice up to the drug dealer. And I was like, I'm not even a drug dealer, because they were so enraged. Allah is my witness. That couple years was the littest, livest years at Cov Uni ISOC. Because what happened is, all of the man them were like, what? You're the ISOC. What the hell? You're the ISOC. They would start coming to the market. They would start coming to the footy.
Bro, yeah.
They would start coming and doing boxing in the. Stop beefing each other. Bro, them times as well, people were on madness from Birmingham, Alum Rock, Smallheath, Hillfields in Cobb. We were all at this uni, and what's beautiful is my best mate is very different to me, right? But it brought together all kinds of people that weren't chilling, that had beef with her, beef with him, and everybody came together. Yemenis, Somalis, Pakistanis, Indians, Sri Lankans, all kinds of, like, at one point, even though as there's some things I look back religiously that I feel a bit bad about, like, maybe we shouldn't have been so exclusionary of those people. I remember, bro, in that prayer room, there was Shias, there was Sunnis, there was, just because people were like, hi Guzi, how you doing? You know what I mean? It was a massive turning point. I don't know what it's like now, because you get older, you leave, you can't quite keep up with stuff. But I just remember thinking, yo, we're good at keeping good vibes. We're good at bringing man them together.
And that is like, that's like a magnet, bro. And so like, and not everybody is like that. Everybody has like specific skills, and it comes back to what we were saying earlier about like you seeming you're a showman. You can tell that you're a showman, and there's like huge advantages in that. I think like it's like again, like I said, almost like a superpower, right? I want to finish off this bit, so because I still haven't got the answer to the fact that you have allowed yourself to have a big vision and to dream big.
Okay.
Was it the fact that you saw so much money so early in your life, you unlocked like, oh, it's possible? Or was it, what was it? Because it's still at this point, you're in Coventry, you haven't even left Coventry. People around you, I imagine, are still kind of in that
still the same
mindset. So at what point did you say, oh, I can dream big, I can have a big vision? Or was it not a moment? It's just like, was it gradual?
The weird thing is, then this fundamentally ties into what I was saying when I said early on in my career. I was like, this is the pimp game. I'm the product you got to sell me, right? That's what the streets / that old life taught me. It teaches you some really simple things, which is, here's how to get money, and you have choices about how to get that money, right? Because unfortunately, the ceiling of attainment is very different now to what it was when we were young. How old are you now? 29. Your baby, right? So I'm 37. When we were younger, it's similar to what you said the other lad that you interviewed from Birmingham was saying, which is the only people from a working class area that had loads of money were either like genuine entrepreneurs, or they were criminals, right? Being an entrepreneur still requires you to get to a certain age. When I was 1920, I can't remember, I don't know if I'm wrong, no one had any shops. There was no 19, 20-year-olds with shops. Now, there's 16-year-olds with huge brands when they have advice about how to make that brand the most successful. They want. So there's a couple of simple options. Either you're working hard and you're aiming for a business, or you're doing something criminal, right? When it comes to this bigger vision and this bigger thought, I can promise you right now, all I've ever valued is what I bring to the table, right? So, if that table was biomedical sciences, I'm limited. I'm sure I can blag it to a certain point, but what's my skill set within a biomedical sphere, right? So one thing I did know is that I never want to do just a job. Because if I'm doing just a job, teaching, the manager of a retail store, whatever it is, and for when we were young, 80, 90, 100K, that is actually a huge amount of money. So for me, I was always like, I have to find a way to make more money than I should. Remember, I did, but it's haram. Man couldn't sleep. Can't do that no more. Gone. So what is this new way going to be? The vision, I would say, is that the only thing that I could really say, it's not nothing to do with me personally. It goes back to my mom. Single, Pakistani woman, pays off her house, buys additional houses. Brilliant saver, yeah? Brilliant saver. Lives within her means, but single-handedly is still probably one of the most successful women I know, like as an individual, from her background and the things she had to deal with. She dreamed big. Her vision was massive.
Makes sense.
To not take on a partner. It's nothing to my huge vision is, you mentioned like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and bro, I have zero aspirations to be an iota of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I judge success on, is everyone fed? Mm-hmm. Do you have autonomy over your time? Are you happy? If any of the things on that list aren't there, but there's a shed load of money, custom doesn't matter.
I actually overheard you saying something the other night, and you were speaking to somebody else. I was next to you, so sorry for earwigging. But but it actually stuck with me what you said, and it's kind of similar to this. So what you're talking about now is the ideal, like your ethos, and your ethos is clearly different to other people in your space, other people who kind of are successful and how they measure like the decisions that they should make and stuff like that. And another thing that kind of made me realize that your ethos in that sense is a bit different is somebody said like that they sent you a message or something, and you were like, bro, I don't check any of my messages. I've got a wife and 4 kids, okay? I'm not checking messages. And that's what you said, and I just thought to myself, like, that's really powerful, because my question was actually, I thought about this, and I thought I want to ask about this, because I was going to ask you, is that how you deal with criticism? Because I'm sure you get criticism. Do you deal with criticism by like deciding that doesn't deserve my time, like checking messages and stuff, and if there's any negativity in there, I don't want to see it? But actually, it just made me think, this seems like a guy who's made decisions but put himself first in those decisions and not thought about like career or what's the best way to do this, that, or this, that. But it's like, I'm going to make some like very clear like policies for myself, some rules for myself. I'm going to stick to them, and if that's positive, it's positive. If it's negative, it's negative. But for me, there's value in not wasting my time checking every single message I'm getting from hundreds of thousands of people, because I'd rather give that time to my family, like you kind of said earlier, right? So yeah, I wanted to kind of unpick that. Why is it that you probably didn't realize you said that? It's probably just a passing comment, but I picked it up and I thought that's really interesting. I want to like bug him about that and see kind of what his reasoning is for just saying, I'm not concerned. I post something. I think you actually said this. You said I post something and I close my phone and I put it away. I don't sit there looking at like the reactions of what I post. Yeah. Which actually is another thing, because obviously it's worth going into what you post as well, because you're very Allahumma barik, you don't you're very kind of outspoken on humanitarian. Well, right now, obviously with Gaza, you're very outspoken on that, and you're not holding back, which I think is an incredibly inspirational thing, especially with someone with the kind of like, I suppose, things you have to lose in that like quote unquote in those quote marks. But anyway, we can go into like social media on such a long kind of laborious in a long laborious manner. So let's just stick to the idea of you not checking your messages and just kind of like using it as a tool and not becoming obsessed with it. That's what I found interesting.
Okay, so whether it be like a member of a team or a friend who points to something really funny, I will respond to funny things.
Okay.
Some. Wait, let me do it verbatim. Can I just?
Yeah, of course, bro. This is a podcast. Take
So it was something in relation to like the ongoing, if we're being politically correct, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. My battery's dead. Okay.
But what's about that? So I wouldn't say what, for example, like headphones and these are earbuds.
But I posted it.
We could charge you by the way.
Oh, cheers, man.
2 second charge.
Someone was so angry with me that they posted, why don't you condom condom the country you're from? You never say anything about this. I find this very funny. This guy clearly hates me. He's clearly annoyed about me. So I do respond.
I see you always respond funny.
I do respond funny because it's funny because then I find it deep.
Yeah, you in a small baby one.
If we survive, next round is on me.
Confuses the situation.
Yeah,
That guy might hate me, and now he's looking, and maybe he just want to be famous or whatever. But no, when someone's messaging me, whether it be praise or criticism, and it's not directly tied into the obligations that you have. But personally, what am I getting out of the opinion of somebody who, bro, if you've ever taken 2 minutes to scroll through and says, Faisal, I don't like the fact you had Gus Khan on your show because, right? I don't like him, don't like what he says, swears, not good reputation of Islam, da-da-da-da-da. If you take a look at the things that they're posting, generally, bro, they're doing that to about 50, 60 other people.
Comments used to really affect me actually.
Let me ask you this question. Do you know the people?
No, they don't affect me anymore. I'm sure some would, but they used to really affect me.
They should reflect. So,
Yeah.
but generally, the people who would say this stuff to you, did they know you?
No, and you're right. Sometimes like someone would say something, and then like it's like literally a little kid, and it's like well, you don't know half of like what it takes to be so. It's such a nuanced situation, and like
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing is, in that moment, I realized something which is really important. Is that, bro, without the use of profanity, we ain't. Once they post that to you, they're on somebody else's page posting to they barely care about it.
That's what I think.
They
like,
barely care about what you do in the city. They're just there because they're dissatisfied.
They comment and they keep it moving. Yeah,
They
they're
keep
not. Yeah,
Exactly. And so the only one time I've been, only customer I've been vexed. It's Facebook. Facebook. So I often post pictures of me, Lumbu, and Haroon.
okay.
They're really like just so the world also knows that if you want to know who I am, because you are a son of the people that you spend time with. These are the people I spend time with. Look at what they're like. This is basically who I answer to. Yeah, I don't answer to him, her, or him. If I'm doing something that's wrong, they'll tell me. This is on every picture I post of me, Barry, and Lambu. Yeah, there was this one guy who was commenting increasingly violent stuff. If it's to me, I don't care. Yeah, I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna do that to you. You're this and that, this and that. But the post started to become more increasingly violent to the point that one of the comments said, because I wasn't giving them any attention, I'm gonna find Lumbu and I'm gonna stab him or kill him. So I went to Wakas. Hashtag shout out Waku, you know who you are. I went to Wakas, I said find out who this person is. Wakas found out pretty quick who the person was. First, I won't go into details, but this person was housebound. This person had a mid to elderly mother, and they had a very sick sister at home. And when I found out that person's halat, what's the translation of halat? Condition. When I found out that person's condition, bro, it's years ago, maybe like 5-6 years ago. There is nothing that could ever get me vexed over a comment again, because bro, Miskeen, look at his halat. He's out there saying he's gonna kill Lumbu. Can't even put shoes on, cuz. You get what? Do you get what I mean? I was only angry because it's Lumbu and I don't like this kind of stuff.
Yeah. That shows your heart though, along with it.
No, but it's, bro, is it like, it's important, isn't it?
Of course it
it's
is.
important because they can say all kinds of horrible. I'm sure if somebody was to say something like that again, it would get to me. But in reality, like, who cares, bro?
Yeah, it's true.
You have to look at
The problem with the internet is that it's one big room that everybody is allowed in. And this is actually one thing that Jamie mentioned. You know JME?
Oh yeah.
He like years ago. I know. Do you know he said it on a podcast? And he said the internet is one big room, and that's not how the world is built for like everybody to be in one big room together. But on the internet, that is how it works, which is weird. It's not natural, right? And so he said, as soon as I realised that there's power in just leaving the room. So I just left the room. And so that's when he like, because for years he was just like deleted his Twitter or whatever when he was that big on Twitter. So I thought that was really
can I ask you a question? What was the turning point for you?
In what sense? The criticism?
Those comments. Yeah, those criticism.
The turning point for me was there was one major thing that I remember when my Quran teacher, Ustad Yahya Rabi, he said to me, I was talking to him about it, and I said to him,
Quran teacher, Rabi.
He said to me, but I say Quran teacher, but I was like, 26 years old or whatever.
No, yeah, I know.
I started reading Alif Ba Ta at 22, 23 years old, bro. I knew it never to madrasa and stuff like that.
Zim Haka, Dal, Barra.
Yeah, so that's one good thing is that I never learned the Urdu way. So
you never learned Dal Zarra?
No. So like that was like actually beneficial because then I got to learn like.
Did you learn Dal Zarra? Yeah, big up all the gang.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so I was speaking to him and I said like, some of them like hurt, especially the ones that you get hurt because like that's so untrue. Like, if it was like
give me an example.
So if it was one that had some truth to it, like for example, And I know you might disagree with me here, like outrightness or whatever. But if someone was like, oh, things are bad podcasts, like boxing is yes, it speaks too fast. Those comments never really affected me because I would be the first to say that. I was watching actually. I was watching that. I don't mind it. I'm doing this. Once I got it's like I feel like I worked so hard to do the opposite and I accept that so easily. For example, one time we were trying to get the podcast and so and then someone was speaking and said like, oh, this is the show that crazy personality, all they care about is views and money. I think even people who got that is that we got such a actually I've had two things for example, in like the scene have like been beefing each other, like the biggest news in the scene, and both of them said we'll do a Fresh Uganda together, and I've said no, I don't want to be a drama.
Give me some. What's this scene? Give me the context of the scene.
Just like the because this podcast is like the Muslim world, right? So like in the Muslim world, generally,
so like when the Muslims are beefing. Yeah, like when the Muslims are having it off.
Which happens online.
Yeah, the Muslims
it happens more now. It happens more now. But like back in the day, if you like it happened, it was like so. There's been opportunities like that where I've said no. Or there's been times where someone has said something super controversial on the podcast, and I've just cut it out because not because I don't want the views, but because I'm like, I don't want to damage that person's thing because they might have been saying it in a thing, or they've got like exposed like a big sin of themselves.
You're safeguarding them, which is what a good podcast does.
The point I'm making is that if I wanted the views and the money and stuff like that, I wouldn't have done those things. Right? So that's why it hurt. I was like, wow, like how can someone say that about me? Because they don't know the things that we haven't like done or we haven't put out stuff. And so I was speaking to Ustad about it, and one thing that he said really benefited me. He said, even Allah didn't stop the people from criticizing him. They say like people say the most disgusting things about Allah. And he said, if he didn't stop that for himself, then why do you deserve for people not to criticize you? And I was like, wow, subhanAllah. I was like, that's so true. That hit me hard. That was one thing. Another thing was that I just started seeing it for what it is, like you said. Like people comment, and then it's like we think about it way more than that person who commented it, who just kind of said it and then like keeps it moving. So I just thought like, why give it any attention, keep it moving. So yeah, it was kind of like just growing older, having kids, and like when you get married and have kids, stuff, you start looking at your life and you think, wow, this stuff really matters to me. Like, why would I let something affect my brain? And that's taking space out of my brain that I could give to my son Zakaria, who like, do you know what I mean? So like, getting older helped naturally.
And bro, like, I think the thing is to bring this to what I do specifically. I don't know what people define me as nowadays: stand-up comedian, actor, performer, entertainer, whatever it is. If I ask any stand-up comedian, oh, what's the worst thing someone could say about you? It would be someone says something, you're not funny. And
yeah, not everyone's gonna like you.
And
right?
Life is subjective.
So.
Comedy is subjective. Yeah. You as a human being are subjective. I might think you're proper safe. I might fly back to England in a couple of weeks' time, and someone's like, "Oh man, that's crazy." It's then incumbent on me to make the decision that during my time with this individual, who was a wonderful guy, lovely guy. There's been so many times that I've been on set on large-scale productions with humongous household world names. And someone's come to me when I'm trying to eat my burger or whatever. Oh God, this guy. And I'm like, is it? And I'll usually leave it like, is it? That guy. He did this, and he said this, and he treated this person like this. If that guy to me is saying, "Hey girls, what up, man? You good?" Okay. All I can judge it off personally is that. If some factual misdemeanor comes out that the individual was doing this and that and was, belittling that, but then that's a secondary body of evidence that I might want to include and say, I'll probably stay clear of that because, there's enough evidence to say somebody is like that. But by that, bro, what am I doing? What am I? Big man, I'm 37 years old, I got 4 kids. What am I doing out here saying, Faithful told me love isn't that thing? You have to cut that. But you know what I'm saying? What self-worth and self-regard, bro, do I have if that's the way I'm behaving? Is the way I think about it.
Sorry, but I'll take up so much time. So
No. Carry on.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I actually have a question from the community, French Brand community. So I want to put that to you now. So this question was. First of all, in a minute, I want to find out if you are a book guy, like if you read books and like kind of what books going for you, because I'll be really interested in that. I think that will tell a lot about your personality, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question from the community is, before you can be, I'm just going to read it word for word. Before you can be funny or endearing in a social environment, you need to be comfortable, which many of us struggle with. Feel rejection, second guessing what we say, and so on and so forth. As a comedian, I imagine getting comfortable in new situations comes easier. What tips do you have for people who struggle to settle into new environments, like a new school or a new job, or even just a small social gathering? I think that's very true, actually, because I've seen, like, bro, you just dance, bro. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of the people that the other day you hadn't met them before.
I know.
The way you could just tango with the person, like, conversationally, I was like, bro, I'm about to get sick. And actually, you, by giving that energy, you receive that energy as well. Remember the guy, the Australian guy came up to you and you was like, I just love your energy. And you could see that there was like a great like conversational kind of dance going on there because I forgot the original question, but
it's how people can be comfortable. It's weird.
It's essentially a question about social anxiety, really.
Which is a real thing.
Yeah, of course.
I was a teacher for a while. Not long, but I was a teacher. Academically, not a good teacher. I'd like to think as a human being, as a pastoral element, as a spirit guide, genuinely, like to those young kids that I taught. I'd like to say that I was able to speak to every single kid that made them comfortable in a way. And I think what's important is that actually, if people were a little bit more perceptive of the people around them, that would go a long way. If you're somebody who's struggling in a social setting, if you're somebody who's not as vocal and as forward, if you're somebody who does hold court, is it going to kill you to say, hey Faisal, what do you think about that? Oh bro, you looking good. Is that you, big man? Are you, sister, you know, oh yeah, that's... You talk about giving energy. I think it's important for this again ties into being a good human being. I think it ties into our faith, to be quite honest with you. Is to, when you go into a circle, if you see somebody struggling a little bit, they're a little bit quiet, they're a little bit introvert, and they've got anxiety about joining in. If you are a person within that setting who is able to hold court, it is fundamental upon you to bring that person in. Even when I was doing stuff that I didn't want to do, there's never a time, primary school, secondary school, teens, even till now, where it's not my responsibility if someone's struggling to say, oh, you saying that? Sometimes it's just that, I'm okay.
That's incredible, man.
But a bit, bro, this is, I'm not saying it to blow smoke. I think that's something within the parameters of our faith.
No, it's very big. It's a very good perception. I don't think people think like that. I think it's incredible.
So you're talking about somebody like, if I'm struggling to keep up with Harun and Arsalan on a trek, never been to one, don't like them, right? But if I'm struggling to keep it, and them might keep running forward, and me Mariapia, one boo bouncing here, one boo bouncing there, okay? Yeah. If they don't come back and check on me and say, bro, come on, it's just this little bit extra, then they're waste, man.
Yeah, they're not being a good dance partner.
You're not being a good dance partner. If you're in a circle and you can see someone's really struggling here, and you're not making time for them, you're a waste, man.
It takes a level of dropping your ego, it sounds like, right?
What is it?
Which is important.
What is ego?
Yeah, everybody's essentially bad. But I'm saying that everyone has one. So it's like, it takes for you to be like the bigger man, and
you know this, I think this is really important. You're 1,000% right. Everyone got one, right? And there's times that an athlete can use their ego to do things that are beyond comprehension.
Yeah, of course.
And a stand-up comedian and a podcaster. And I think there's appropriate times to use your ego to give yourself a natural testosterone boost, or whatever the hell it is, to get you to a place of performance or to complete a task. But not to use your ego to stunt on somebody who's just standing there trying to get into a conversation. That is for me the sign of an absolute pet. That's not a nice person.
Yeah.
Right?
So selflessness.
My flip is, to whoever that person is, you can be perceptive enough to choose what circle that you're putting yourself in. Yeah? We were at an event the other night. I'll be honest with you, bro. I didn't like it. Did you like it?
It's a very particular type of event, isn't it?
Look, and this is not.
I enjoyed. To be fair, you were on my table the whole night, and I really enjoyed chopping up with you.
Yeah, but what I didn't.
And I
enjoy,
got a podcast out of it.
Yeah, of course, but the thing is, what I didn't enjoy is all of the pam pam pum pum.
There's a lot of like.
Pam pam pum pum
Right.
is what I would term it as.
yeah.
It's a noise,
That's
but I
the
think
perfect term.
I think
Yeah.
I think it
yeah.
adequately describes what was going on. There was a couple of people there that night who were a little bit quiet, who were maybe waiting to speak to you. Some people are just trying to sell me a cake. I don't know what the reference. Oh, 25 minutes trying to sell me a cake. I was like, where do you want me to put this cake in my bundle? Like, what do you want? I ain't got no space for this cake, bro. Yeah? So people are in for different things. But there was a couple of guys who were there, and there was one lady who, like, wanted to make a good impression. So it's my responsibility that I allow them to make that good impression. It's important, ain't it?
No, but bro, you're brushing over it like it's a normal thing, but this is actually profound because it's about it's like someone you know when someone says a really simplified version of what you're saying is when someone your friend says, oh bro, guess how much these trainers cost, and you know that it would be absurd for you to say like what they're trying to say is that they're really cheap, and it'd be absurd if you guessed a realistic price. It wouldn't be fair. To be a good conversation kind of partner, you have to be like, I don't know, £200, like so you're alley-ooping them, they can dunk it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's that's a simplified version of what you're saying. It's like you have to be selfless in these aspects, and you have to be, I suppose, like be able to think a bit deeper than just getting a win.
Yes, and maybe
Because you could have got a win. You could have got with the win of, oh, these guys want to chat to me, I'm gonna die.
nah, stuff like that's disgusting.
Obviously, you
bro.
could have got the win.
You know when you said that, Alani customer just felt sick. Alani customer just felt, might be his tea, but I swear to you, I felt sick. There's something that me and Lumbo do.
Yeah.
I told you all 10 times already, Lumbo breastfeed. Maybe I don't want to say it because I don't want it to seem, because this genuinely comes from a genuine place.
No, you should say it though.
Not say,
No,
because it's gonna sound
we now know it comes from a genuine place because you didn't want to say it, but now you should say it to benefit us. We know prerequisite, guys, is genuine. He didn't want to say it. I'm making him say it.
we are in Dubai. Almost every single person who waits at a table or who takes a car for valet parking or who opens a door, they are the most working of working class. And it, well, Allah is my witness, it genuinely makes us happy to have a quick conversation with them, no matter where they are. Because they, in a big glitzy place like this, are surrounded by people who just want to get through the door and go to where they're going. If we someone were like TK, whether they're from Nepal, whether they're from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, bro, yes or no, their face lights up.
Yeah.
Not only are they feeling good, we feeling good. Somebody has noticed them in their long, hard-ass day of doing all this scum in 35, 40 degrees heat. Somebody said, how you doing? Either me or Lumber will do that. I genuinely believe that there's reward from Allah in that,
100%.
because it's not for the world. Even that's why I said I didn't want to say it, because now in making that person feel better, because I know and you know and everybody knows on planet Earth, when somebody shows you a little bit of what you doing, buddy, yar, no? Just that little bit of conversation, man, she's scratching his head and he's like, let me open this door a little bit more nicely.
Oh, it's so true, and especially if you know Urdu here, because you get that, and I try and make an effort into doing those things as well. I remember, to your point, one time there was like a maintenance person here, and he started speaking to me. I was speaking to him in Urdu, and then he started asking me where I'm from and stuff. And bro, do you know what? He left with a massive smile on his face, and he said, you know what, there's so many young people who come from Pakistan and they don't even bother learning the language, and especially when they're like from the UK and stuff, and he goes, you don't understand how many people's houses I go to, they're from the UK, and they tell me that they're Pakistan and they can't speak to me in our language. And he said, it makes me so happy that you're speaking the language, that like there's someone in the younger generation that's like made an effort to speak in language and to learn the language and stuff, and it made his day. And why does that make his day? That hasn't benefited him personally in any way, but it's just like you could see it really made him happy, and so it does go a long way, right?
What did it take?
Yeah,
nothing.
just, no.
What it took nothing. On a personal level, if there's something I have noticed, I very rarely do, but if I go somewhere, whether it be security, whether it be someone who's handing out the little finger foods, people have noticed it, right? They'll always tap me on the shoulder and say, oh, goose, yeah, look, this is that person's there now. person saying, do you mind if I get out? I'm like, yeah, of course. That's before they even have met me one time. So I hope it must mean, inshallah, that they're like, this geezer is just like us. Going back to what I said at the beginning of this podcast, if this goes away tomorrow, I'm not the kind of person who's had success in this injury who's going to be like, bloody slumming. I'm good. I'm happy. I like conversation. I like talking to people. It's free. And if you do it and engage in it properly, in an honest way, it make you feel better than any drink that someone's hitting or any party drug that someone's in. If you can have a good, solid conversation with somebody, you'll make your day.
Let's talk about books quickly. You tell me, bro, when I'm taking the mic now with the time length, because it's meant to be an hour, so we've gone over. We're at an hour and 16.
No, go.
Hour and 22. Yeah, I'm intrigued to know. Are you a book man? Like, do you read non-fiction books and stuff? No, not at all.
I don't read books.
Really?
I don't listen.
Because you must write a lot.
I do. I don't listen to audiobooks. I saw a comedian recently. I think his name is Earthquake.
Is it because you don't have the time, would you say?
No, I just never had an interest. Never an interest.
Because I gained a love for books a lot later in life.
It's something that I've always wanted
30
to take
seconds.
really seriously.
I'm going to recommend you some books.
Please, yeah.
I'm going to send you a text.
Do so. Send me books.
Yeah.
I'm a very reactionary person. It gets me into a lot of trouble sometimes. It loses me money sometimes. It has caused me to get into fights. It's not. It's a dangerous personality trait. I'm very reactionary. So if something's happening, I will very quickly
Oh my god!
go to people that I know are knowledgeable, not people that I said I agree with, but people who are knowledgeable. And I'll see what they're saying about something, and then I'll try and apply my own logic to something, right? Because I think in reading books, my perception of it has always been is that, bro, that's going to take too long for me to process something that I need to get straight in my head now.
That's what audiobooks exist.
No, exactly. I know they exist for that. I know they exist for that reason. I do listen to. It's because that's a stupid.
There's some incredible books, bro. That really actionable. Because I was like, bro, I used to take pride in it. I used to say, people, hey, bro, one of the like famous things that I've said numerous times is I got an A or an A star in English literature. I never read the book. It was what's that book that's got it's the house and Boo Radley and.
Cause I don't know Boo Radley, bro.
Bro, you know that like English literature. You don't
I don't know Boo Radley, bro.
The famous book. Anyway,
but you got
To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. To Kill a Mockingbird. You never heard that book?
Yeah.
So To Kill a Mockingbird. We went to our English literature exam and everything was like based on that. And I never read the book, and I got an A. And so I say that as like something I'm really proud, like egotistically.
But you should be. That's smart.
The point is that I haven't read a book since The Famous Five in primary school. But then I started, and bro, honestly, there's a lot of actionable things. Bro, there's a book called Never Split the Difference by a guy called Chris Voss. Because there's a lot of like you probably think, bro. There's a lot of books that are just absolute waste of time, and people are just trying to get their money and like they're giving a basic concept. But there's other books like this one where it's incredible. Chris Voss is a guy. He was like one of the USA's top hostage negotiators in the police force. Like one of the best in the world, and he's got a book on negotiation. And they really actually, and it's not negotiation like, obviously for you it'd be very valuable because of the kind of people you're dealing with, like agents and the production house or whatever. But actually, what he says in the book, and it's very true, is that every single day you're in a negotiation, whether it's like just having a conversation with the missus or whatever, it doesn't have to be an argument, but there's always that kind of, and bro, this book is just, from an actionable points perspective, incredible. Another book, Dale Carnegie, How to